Yo,
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 What's good, creamers?
gamers.
Creamers.
Yo. Aidan, do the thing.
What's good, creamers?
What's good, creamers? Welcome back. Episode 172 of the Half and Half podcast. Sorry for the little delay in episodes here, but we're not going anywhere. We're still here, as always. I am one of your co hosts, Vasanth Ramdas, joined by my administrative co host, Aidan Mangan. Who knows, Aiden?
Hmm.
You might be in one of the. You might. I don't know what you're doing over there on the other side. Maybe you're making some really big government decisions over there after being added to a group chat or something. But how are you doing?
Good. Yeah, I just finished my morning routine where I dump a ton of ice into a bowl and then have a woman dress me. And did you see? Have you seen that whole like morning routine video? Like the guy that's doing like the
I've seen
fake
a
through
lot of the
walls type
like
thing.
bits based
Yeah,
off of it. Like I've seen a lot of like parodies of the like drinking
yeah.
water, and it's like the really expensive sparkling water, right, or
Well, no,
something.
it's not just drinking it. He pours it into a bowl, fills it with ice, and puts his face into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
He doesn't even drink it. Yeah, no, that was one of my favorite things I saw because he wakes up that for the people that have not seen this, it's essentially like one of those like alpha male morning routine
Yeah,
type
like
of
I'm rich and here's my
TikToks.
morning routine.
Yeah, and it's this guy who's like ridiculously jacked. I will give him that. Like the man is in like ridiculous shape.
Well, I
Um,
mean, he has no
but
credibility if
there
he's
are a
not
few things in there
ridiculously
that
jacked. No
people
one would watch the video.
exactly, yeah. There are a few things in there that are just like particularly have stood out. The fact that he takes like incredibly expensive water and just pours it, maybe not incredibly expensive, but like like more luxury
It's
water
expensive
brands,
enough that
whatever.
like you're going out of your way to buy it. I mean,
Literally, yeah. Like I think you can buy it at Target still, but even then, like
you have to
it's
make
like
a choice to pick it
it
over
it
like
ain't it ain't Dasani, you know?
yeah,
Like
or even if you're
that's
doing
what I would
sparkling
say.
waters, you'd be better off
Yeah.
buying like a San Pellegrino type deal.
Yeah, just like dunking his face into like that with ice. He just wakes up at 4 a.m. and does nothing for about 2 hours, but makes it look like he's doing things. Like he does like a push-up in that 2 hour span. Until 6 a.m.
He
when
lives like a little mini day before his real day.
literally, yeah. Like before like where it doesn't even really he just kind of chills for 2 hours. It seems like he goes to the gym at 6 a.m. Like I don't get it, man.
And then after you
Um
do all of that, Aiden, you then okay a strategic missile strike because you're in
exactly,
these
yes.
important government group chats. They've
That's
added you
that
clearly
that's
for a
exact.
reason.
This is one of the funnier. Well, okay. To be like woke or whatever for a moment.
Be woke. To open your third
Um,
eye for a second here.
within the messages, it's revealed that a one of the Houthis' girlfriend's buildings was destroyed in which means that there was definitely civilian collateral damage. And
Wait, can you run that back again? What'd you say? You cut out for a second. That's all.
um, sorry, within these messages like that had come out from the signal chat. We'll talk more about that. One of the revelations was that I don't know if this was previously known, but like one of the targets was killed, right? But it was they collapsed like the building that his girlfriend lived in, so it could have been her house, it could have been like whatever, I don't know. Likely though, there was civilian collateral damage to like this operation.
Yeah, I mean, if you collapse a whole fucking
And
building, I mean, you're gonna take some out of
yeah,
people.
so it's like when I say that like the what happened is funny, I'm talking about the adding a reporter from the Atlantic to a group chat, not
The
the
way in
actual
which
events
the
that were.
text got leaked, and also
Yes.
I've not seen this. My friends, some of my other friends have been talking in a group chat about it, and they were saying like the way in which they talk to each other is also a little insane.
It's so weird,
Like they
man.
use emojis and stuff, and it feels like a
Yes.
matter as serious as like a strategic strike doesn't emoji usage is a little outrageous.
One of my favorite moments in it is just JD Vance says, "I will pray for victory," and then someone, two people just reply prayer hand emojis
That's
on
what I.
it. Like, it's like what?
That's
These are the
yeah.
people running our country, and they're doing like Discord reacts, dude. That's crazy.
They're doing F's in chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I mean, like I'm doing okay. How are you doing, man? We'll get to the signal stuff
Yeah, I'm
soon,
doing
but
fine.
yeah.
You've cut in and out a few times here, so it looks like they're already trying to preemptively silence you from
Have I?
sharing your opinions.
Oh boy.
Just a little bit, nothing
Here,
crazy.
why don't you talk to the people? Why don't you talk to people for a little bit? I'll get hop on the mobile hotspot. My Wi-Fi has been like really crappy all week, so
Yeah, sure. Nothing like carrying a duo podcast by yourself.
yeah,
You
you
don't
got
do
it.
it,
This is the stuff that they love.
Yeah, this is the stuff they love. They listen for like some back and forth, and it's just like me talking to a invisible human being, a wall, if you will.
Yeah.
But while
Is
Aiden
that
gets
any
himself,
better?
yeah, you sound fine right now.
Cool. All right, we're gonna roll with this for now. Let me
See,
know
that
if
was
it gets
seamless. I
worse.
didn't even have to do much on
Yeah.
my own. See,
Cool. All right. Yeah, I thought it was gonna take longer, honestly. That was pretty
my
good.
co-host Crutch didn't leave me. Yeah, I'm doing well. Haven't really been texting anything crazy in group chats about
Mhm.
impacting civilian lives or anything like that. I will
Yeah.
say you talk about funny reactions or like Discord reactions. I remember for the sake of I'll keep the friend anonymous just in case they don't want me to put their name out there for this story. But you'll know who I'm talking about. Is in one of our group chats, this person was asking about King Von,
Oh
Chicago,
yes.
I believe, based rapper, and it was like, so like, what's the deal with King Von? Like, is their music really popular? Is there like some other context around that I don't get? Because maybe they were getting like a lot of videos or TikToks or reels about them.
Well, King Von has had a second life in meme culture. Like that is true. And I like second life is a unfortunate term to use there, but like that is true. Like they use his songs for like typical like being hard moments, you know?
Yeah,
And
I don't.
I'm not talking, you know, when I say
Yeah,
that.
boner. Not talking
Exactly.
about that. My dick's so hard it make the metal detector go off. None of that. We're not talking about any
None
of
of
that.
that.
Shout out to Mr. Chains. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's why he was asking though. He was like, is there actual fans for the music or is it just like tied into like meme culture? And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't really know much about the meme culture stuff, but I do know he passed away. So like
Yeah.
there is obviously like there's like unfortunately people get their flowers after they die, so sometimes you see like a posthumous bump in popularity. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's dead." I was like, "Yeah, he got murdered." And like because I
Yeah.
think there was like it was like one of these unfortunate like hip hop into like real life gang violence kind of
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
And he just replied with F.
F to
And
our
that's
F to
whatever.
King Von.
I'm not saying this to make fun of our friend here. I just think like it's
Yeah.
funny like the type of goofy language you use in just like
Uh-huh.
passing conversation is being used at the highest levels of government, making very important, impactful decisions.
Yeah. And
Um,
I mean like it sounds like we're just gonna get into this first story then, right? Like I really
I mean,
think
unless you
like
got something you want to share with the people now. I mean, you might have some
um
wild stuff going on in your life that you want to put on air.
nothing I want to share yet. To leave them hanging on that for a bit, I
Oh.
guess.
I
Nothing
was
I want to
thinking,
share
yeah,
this week.
Aiden, you should recreate and this is not racist, I promise.
Okay.
But I was watching a video of someone talking about like just like the Switch 2 and like
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. And they mentioned that when Nintendo was going to announce the Switch, the first one, they just tweeted a picture of Mario ominously like peeking out behind a curtain. I don't know if you've seen this picture.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's in the
That's
announcement tweet, and
awesome.
they're like, "Hey, we got something coming up." That's what
Hmm.
you should do. You should recreate that. We've got an
Hmm.
announcement about Aiden that might come out at some time. It's you have to keep
Yeah.
listening. I won't put it in the title either. You'll never know
You'll never
when
know
Aiden will announce
until it
this thing that
happens.
he's
Yeah.
holding on to.
Exactly. And then like when it does, like when if I eventually like tell people I might never talk to y'all about that either. I don't know. We'll see. But like
The rumors are true. Aiden has a movie addiction, I'm afraid. Yeah, maybe you could share that. We watched a movie every day of the fucking week last week.
Well, no, I
A
averaged
new
out to
movie.
watch. I averaged out to watching a movie a day last week. Yes, I did do that. What did I go see
These are
last
all
week?
new movies, by the way. It's not like, rewatching a favorite or something, right? These are all new ones for
These
you.
were all, yeah, no, none of these were on in the background. None of these were like I turned on TNT and they were just on. Like these were all I locked in. Let me see, what did I see that during that stretch? Yeah.
We saw
Um,
Novocaine together, which is like a fun action
yeah.
romp. Nothing
On
more,
the
nothing less.
16th, I watched Opus and the King of Comedy. On the oh sorry, no, that was on the 15th. On the 16th, I watched The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. On the 18th, I watched Black Bag. On the 20th, I watched Paris, Texas. On the 22nd, I watched Rocky Horror, and on the 23rd, I watched Novocaine. And actually, on the 24th, I saw Paddington in Peru. No, 23rd, I saw Paddington in Peru. No, okay, wait, time out. I got these days wrong, so I logged them
See,
wrong
this
into
is
the
what
mailbox.
happens when you
Okay,
develop an addiction. Like when you have to live up to the Aiden
tw
movie Mangan title, stops working
time
properly.
start.
It's just
It
movie to the
really
next.
does. Okay, 15th, Opus and King of Comedy. 16th, Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. 18th, Black Bag. 20th, Paris, Texas. 21st, Rocky Horror. 22nd, Novocaine. And then if you extend it another day to make it more than a 7-day stretch, I watched Paddington in Peru the day after.
I will say, for a stretch of watching a bunch of movies, like you watched all good movies.
Yeah, Opus was the worst one in that, and that was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. You
Everything else in
watch
there was
like
good.
the
Yeah.
floor was like competence, really, and then there were some
Eh,
excellent films in
eh.
there. Okay, fine.
The floor was mediocrity. Yeah, but
Yeah, but
like,
that's
yeah,
not bad,
yeah.
you know.
That's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah. I can't wait
it's
for Aiden.
whatever.
I
Yeah.
can't wait for Aiden to add to this list when he watches the Snow White movies.
Yeah, and it's definitely gonna bring me to see that.
Have fun watching Gal
I
Gadot act in big air quotes.
I won't. She's gonna Anna's gonna hear this later, and she's gonna be like, "But you don't want to see Snow White?" And I'd be like, "I was not gonna go see Snow
Then
White until
we'll,
you
for the
told me you
sake
wanted
of
to
your
see it."
relationship, we will hide your
Yeah.
opinions on the Lilo and Stitch live action movie that is coming out soonish,
I
I
mean,
believe.
honestly, I thought the trailer looked. I'm being completely real. I thought the trailer looked kind of cute. So I'm like, I don't like. Maybe it won't be that bad, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think Toothless looks good for the How to Train Your Dragon movie, but it
Yeah,
doesn't mean
yeah,
that
yeah.
ethically I agree with the
Yeah, it's like,
production of the
like,
film.
do you agree with doing a live action of like a live action remake of these anime movies? Like, in the like theory of it, do I agree with that? Not really, because they're mostly cash grabs. However, does that mean that all of them are going to be terrible? Like,
No, yeah,
no,
some of them have been decent
you
for
know.
sure. And yeah, but
Jungle Book was pretty good, like,
well,
and
Jungle
then
Book was
like
like
they,
impressive, I think, more than anything. Like it was cool how
yeah,
they pulled it off. I think that
yeah,
the spectacle of it was really what caught everyone's attention. But
yeah.
anyway, we're getting sidetracked here. But yeah, that Aiden's got an announcement for you guys, so keep listening.
Eventually, I guess, yeah. We'll
Yeah, you
see.
have to keep listening to find out what it is. This is how you keep people hooked in, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna start doing
Um,
crazy YouTube thumbnail style things for these episodes. Is Aiden pregnant? Hosting a podcast gone wrong.
gone crazy, gone sexual?
Aiden
Question
captured
mark.
by IDF?
That actually, like, if I were to be in Israel for any reason, that is like a potential thing because I've been told by many people that I look Palestinian, and
You
that
got, what was it, Turkish? We talked about it on this show,
Turkish.
right?
I've
Turkish
gotten
Student
Palestinian.
Association
I've
at
gotten
NC State.
Palestinian before too, and that was mostly from people in the South not knowing what an Italian looked like. But
And you're an
it is what
aspiring
it is.
screenwriter, and we know how they feel about Palestinian movie makers.
That yeah, you saw that story, right? Oh my God.
Yes,
The co-director of No Other Land getting captured by Israeli settlers for like a 24-hour period.
luckily got released and I believe is
Yeah, thank
safe
God.
now. Thank
Yeah,
God.
thankfully.
But yeah,
Crazy.
co-Oscar winner, co-director and also Oscar winner for best documentary
Yeah.
feature at the Oscars. Yeah, it's really fucked up, especially because it was such a triumph for that movie to win that award. I thought it
Hmm.
was their speeches were really nice, um, and were very positive. Obviously, they were
Yeah.
spun as like evil and anti-Semitic, and Gal Gadot, I'm sure, actually turned into the evil witch that she plays in the Snow White movie
Yeah.
backstage. But yeah, that was a bummer. I'm
They're
very
showing
glad
that documentary.
he's
I
still
was gonna say
okay
they're
at
showing
least.
that documentary in the theater by me on Sunday. I might go watch it to show some support.
To counteract watching the Snow
Yeah.
White movie
Yeah,
spiritually.
right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching for
So we'll
Ziegler,
see.
I promise.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
let's
so
talk
I
group
mean
chat,
like
shall we?
yeah, let's talk group chats, man.
not your disgusting racist high school group chats full of really bad jokes and memes, though. If those came to light, I'm sure a lot of people would be out of a job and making
it
posts on LinkedIn about how
it
they're going to grow from this or twit longers, but
it is amazing. I literally was thinking about like this entire like news story that is like one of the big controversies of the early Trump admin or second Trump admin is
one
literally
of
just like the
many early
meme.
controversies, but probably the
Yes, but
biggest
like
one, I
so
guess.
like this is one of the biggest so far, and this is the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that's
I'd
like
say
getting
the
this is getting a
because he's
lot of
kind of
scrutiny
there's been
right
like
now.
daily ineptitude, right? But this is like the big one, or probably one of the
Yeah.
biggest ones on the early
Yeah,
trail.
because like so there this is what I'd say there's a difference between like scandal and
That's
and
true. This is more of scandal
just like
territory
and like policy that you disagree with, right? Like so getting
Mm.
rid of the Department of Education is not necessarily like a
In front of a
scandal, quote
choir of
unquote.
children or whatever.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like a scandal, quote unquote, but it
Yeah,
is
that's
like
true. He's doing his
wrong.
political,
It's
he's
like,
working within his
like
political
yeah,
role in a way that people would disagree with. But then the scandal
yeah,
here with these text messages is
yeah.
just ineptitude on a completely different level. So why don't you set the scene for us?
Yeah, so an article was released by The Atlantic, by Jeffrey Goldberg, who I believe is like one of their like chief editors, basically. So like pretty high up with the
Keep him
with
away
a
from any high places.
editor in chief. Yeah, he's the editor in chief there, and
You
he's
need to put him in a
also
bunker, keep him safe.
yeah, yeah. So it's so funny too because he's just like a legacy media guy. Like, is he like a quote unquote journalist in the sense like, well, like he's probably not breaking news as often these days
Yeah,
outside
because
getting
his
things from
role is more
sources occasionally.
overseeing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's probably not the one typically chasing leads or anything these days. So
He
it's
manages
it's
the people
always
chasing the leads, essentially.
yeah, it's always shocking when something just falls into your lap, you know?
Yeah.
And so basically what
And
happened,
usually you'd be like, oh, I gotta vet this, but like there's nothing more direct
there was
falling in your
nothing to
lap
vet.
than
Yes. Well,
this.
actually he did do his due diligence. I will talk about the
To make
details of
sure
this.
it
He
was like
did.
a real
Yeah.
group chat, I'm sure. But like that's what I'm saying is like you're getting it direct from the source, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
So Tuesday, March 11th, he received a request on Signal from a user identified as Michael Waltz. Michael Waltz is Trump's national security advisor.
Also, what is
Um,
Signal?
Signal is it's basically like Slack. It's like an encrypted version of it, you
Yeah, it's like a
know?
more high security
So
version for probably a lot of government agencies, I assume, use
yeah.
it or something.
Yeah. So there are government agencies that use it. They're like different like some companies, just private companies also use it as well. Basically it's like a Teams equivalent, you know?
Yeah, Teams or
Um
Slack equivalent. Got it. Okay.
You can basically use Signal as a say like Trump wants to meet with like his VP, right? Like your JD Vance. But I say VP, like we don't know whose VP is. Trump wants to meet with JD Vance. I know he probably just like presses a button and says tell someone like go get JD, but he could like go on Signal and be like, "Hey JD, want to talk? Can you come by? Whatever.
Ping me,
Like come by the
JD.
Oval Office, literally." Um, what you are not supposed to do on these encrypted services, and because everything that happens when it comes to like war planning, things like that, or attacks is supposed to be like on record, like the discussions around them. You are not supposed to have those conversations on a channel like this,
Yeah, Signal
like
is
on
more
a
so
Teams chat.
facilitating like the
Yeah.
getting people together, next steps, like
Yes, yes.
getting it's setting up the actual real life conversations that like you said
Yeah.
are recorded and
Instead of
happen.
having, yeah, instead of having, and quite literally, Michael Waltz, who had set this up, also set it up that the conversation would vanish in 4 weeks.
Ah, yes. This is how old
Which
people use like any like internet or online tool. Like in the digital age, like stuff is really not gone as easily as you
Yeah,
think.
exactly. So, um, sorry, one sec. Basically, what wound up happening was that he was added to this chat, and at the time he was like, "I don't believe this is actually the real Michael Waltz, but like I'm gonna accept it just because like maybe he wants to chat with me for
Just
something."
let it rock out, yeah. Got nothing to
Yeah, because he
lose.
was like, yeah, quite literally for him, he's like, "Oh, if it's like if it's a troll, like whatever, you know." So he was like, "Okay, I'll see," and he wound up, so he accepted like the request, like be like added by him. And then he received a notice that he was going to be included in a Signal chat group that was called Houthi PC Small Group.
Wait, what?
Houthi, which is the people we had bombed in Yemen, right? Because like so they had been like attacking like naval or cargo ships in like the Suez Canal, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like they're basically like you could the word that I think we would use is like basically a terrorist organization in Yemen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um so Houthi PC small group. I'm not sure what PC necessarily means in this context, but
It's so
um
funny that it's named like a corporate, like you got a little project
yeah.
you're working on at your company and there's like a group of you on it, so you make like a little Teams or Slack group with some channels and that's what you fucking name it.
So he put
Jesus
everybody
Christ.
in. He said, like, please provide the best point of contact from your team for us to coordinate over the next couple days, over the next weekend. So actually, okay, PC is Principals Committee, which generally refers to the group of the most senior, most national security officials, including secretaries of defense, state, and the Treasury, as well
So
as directors of
why'd
the
they add
CIA.
a high-ranking guy from the Atlantic who is not a principal committee type of guy?
So what definitely happens that it must have just been like
Like a
luck, you know?
misad?
Yeah, like they probably meant to add someone else, and then they
With a
accidentally threw this
similar
guy
name?
in there.
I guess,
Probably.
yeah.
There might be some like general names like Jenny Goldberg, that they thought that they were adding. Um,
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah. So like one person was representing Marco Rubio, um, JD Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, which are like all these different people within Trump's admin.
So reps for
Um,
these people, or were these the people themselves?
So it was the people that, sorry, yeah, it was the people themselves. They were like appointing people for like to
Okay.
basically be point of contacts for this matter, you know?
Yeah, for them, for the okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And basically like um try by what I was like basically that was all that happened Thursday, right? So Waltz was like, okay, this is like this
An
so far is
elaborate
nothing.
ruse.
Yeah, he's like, it could be an elaborate ruse. I don't know, but like also weird. He consulted a number of his colleagues about it, saying that, or was it like a disinformation campaign from like foreign intelligence? Is it like some sort of just act of like rogue people on the internet, things like that? Um, he had very strong doubts that the text was real. I'm basically like paraphrasing from The Atlantic to
Yeah, why
basically
would he
near
think
quoting
it's
it.
real? I mean, like,
Um,
there's no reason
so
to.
yeah, anything I'm saying, I'm like near quoting The Atlantic slash paraphrasing, just so people know. Um,
We're doing an
and
audiobook
Jeffrey
version of
Goldberg's
the
writing.
article.
Exactly. He said, I could not believe that the national security leadership of the United States would communicate on Signal about imminent war plans, right? Um,
Yeah.
I also cannot believe the national security advisor of the president would be so reckless to include the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic in such discussions with senior U.S. officials up
I
to
love how
including
like
the
the
vice president.
journalist speak is in there, right? Where
Yeah.
it's essentially the TLDR
Well,
is there's
it's the
no way this
absurdity of the
guy's such a
situation.
fucking
Yeah.
dumbass, right? Like there's no way these
Yeah.
guys are so stupid. They put a journalist, an editor in
Yeah.
chief of a big publication in a war plan group chat.
It's insane.
Yeah, and I guess
Um,
at this point nothing crazy has been disseminated. It's more just like who are your point of contact people, which I guess
yeah.
is fine on, that's you could once again say like, oh, well, maybe that's for then the IRL communications to happen, but
Yeah.
we're about to
Um,
find out that wasn't the case, but continue.
At 8:05 a.m. on Friday, 14th, Michael Waltz texts the group team. You should have a statement of conclusions with taskings for the president's guidance this morning in your high side inboxes. High side in government parlance refers to classified computer and communication systems. State and DoD, we've developed a suggested notification list for regional allies, yada yada, whatever. Um, Make sure everyone's briefed. Um, JD Vance responds at 8:16. And again, these are directly like these people. Like they had like essentially correspondence at that meeting that morning, you know?
Hmm.
to like pass the information along, but like these are the people
Yeah, they're
replying.
in the
Like,
group chat we've established. Yeah.
yeah. The account labeled JD Vance response at 8:16. Team, I'm out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan, but I think we are making a mistake. The Vance account goes on to say 3% of US trade runs through the Suez, 40% of European trade does. There's a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do so, as POTUS said, is to send a message for anyone that does not know. POTUS is the colloquial um,
You got it.
abbreviation for President of the United States. Just for anyone listening.
So what's JD's stance
Um,
at this point is like we need to do the attack to send a
no,
message.
JD's going like, I don't know if we should do this, guys. Like, he's like, is
And the
this
only
worth
reason
it?
to do it would be to
Yeah.
do the sending a message thing.
So what's interesting though is that like as the Atlantic says, like Vance has not like made any like deviations publicly from Trump's position on anything. But he says in this chat, I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I'm willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there's a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, and seeing where the economy is at, etc. Which is
So
so
essentially,
funny.
he's kind of a little bitch where like he does have his own beliefs, but
Yes,
he's just
yes.
not standing on them because he's like,
He
I'll
will.
go with what the team wants, but
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, I mean, like, if
which
you
no one
guys
likes
want to
working
bomb
with
the
that guy anyway,
Houthis,
because it makes like when you're working like corporate
yeah,
like in these sort of team settings, that person's obnoxious because it doesn't actually help us figure out what direction to go, and you're just like pussyfooting around
yeah. I
essentially.
mean, like, recently, like, I had a situation with my job. I'm not going to speak on the specifics of it, but like, I
Yeah,
had to
sure.
like basically, um, voice my displeasure at what the like superior, like
Upper
someone like a
management
superior upper
types, yeah.
management position, was doing, and did anything like result of that? No, but I went into that like and just like made my opinion known, knowing that I was like, I will fight for this opinion if I like have to, essentially, you know?
Yeah, meanwhile, he's
Um,
like, well, here are my thoughts. It's essentially like he's basically trying
yeah.
to like, if this ever
Look,
came
yeah,
out, which it did,
yeah,
just let everyone know that I think there's some issues here, and
yeah.
I don't know enough about the specifics regarding this whole matter with the Suez Canal.
Yeah,
But obviously, like, there's a big economic area. Doing anything could risk messing all of that up, and,
yeah.
halting the passage of goods through it. What do you say? 40% of European commerce goes through there internationally or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Versus
so
like
like
it's a minor part of like US trade.
yeah, I don't know how reasonable. Yeah, and I get why it's inconsistent with the messaging. It's like it ultimately isn't actually that big a deal for us.
And it
So why
helps
are we
Europe,
doing it?
which is like what like Trump is like
Trump doesn't want,
basically taking Europe to task, quote unquote, at the moment.
quote
So it's
unquote.
like,
Yeah, so I
why do you
mean
do
like
that?
in comparing what Trump has said to this, I see like the point. Like it is inconsistent and also
Yeah.
could cause bigger economic issues, obviously, if like a targeted strike messes with international commerce, especially from the Europe side, which can then
Hmm.
negatively impact the US in a way as well. So,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him credit because he's being a little bitch about it, but
Yeah.
like, it's good
So
to know his brain works a little bit.
yeah. So Pete Hegseth, who's the Department of Defense head, he said, VP, I understand your concerns. Fully support you raising with POTUS important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they play out, economy, Ukraine peace, Gaza, etc. I think this messaging is going to be
Ukraine
tough no
peace,
matter
which we
what.
have actively not helped with.
Yeah, and also Gaza, which like the what he's
We've
mentioning
also
that
not helped with.
he'll say later. It's like basically things that like Hegseth is talking about. They all fell apart after this. Um, he's like, I think the messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we need to stay focused on one, Biden failed, and two, they're Iran funded.
Biden.
So so basically, he's like talking about like we all need to go on TV and talk about these things to justify why we're doing
To
this.
justify it, we need to
Um,
basically buzzword it up. Oh, hey, Biden fucked it up.
yeah.
Iran, things that America is scared of. Sleepy
Hmm.
Joe and the Iranian
Yeah.
people.
The
Jesus
Hegseth message
Christ,
goes on
dude.
to
The fact that
state.
this is how like these discussions are had make me
Hmm.
so irritated.
Well, I think it was Larry said to me. He was like, "It's amazing seeing Hegseth like trying to like think about messaging while other people in the chat are just like bomb them, bomb them."
Yeah, these two are having like a
Oh,
conversation,
A
and the other one's
policy
like,
conversation, like messaging conversation.
and like, yeah, where
It's
does
like,
this fit with
Bob, Bob.
our? Where does this fit with our campaign and what we promised? Meanwhile, someone else was just sending bomb emojis in the
Yeah,
chat,
exactly. Yo, we got him.
sending gifs.
Um, yeah, so Hexa also said waiting a few weeks or months does not fundamentally change the calculus. Two immediate risks on waiting. One, this leaks and we look indecisive.
In his defense, he called it. He called it. Hey, he called the shot. He said, if this leaks, it's
So
over.
when he says this leaks, he's talking about like the decision of going after the Houthis or not, right? He's
Yeah,
talking about like it leaks like that the US is considering to do this, but they have not done it yet, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's just
two,
funny talking about the risk of leaks and something that did leak.
two, Israel takes action first, or Gaza ceasefire falls apart, which happens, and we do not get to start
That
this on our
ceasefire did
own
fall
terms.
apart. Yeah.
Yes. Which I was like, oh my God, you guys knew that the Gaza ceasefire was going to fall apart the entire time, which we all
Or like had
knew.
like at least like enough of a
Yeah.
concern where like that could happen very realistically.
Yeah.
It's just so funny
So,
that like in a weird way he like is Nostradamus here. Like
mhm.
this leak,
Yes,
which obviously I know it's
exactly.
not exactly what he was talking about, and then the ceasefire fell apart. Like
Yeah.
he wrote the script, man.
He wrote the script. So they went back and forth a little bit, like talking about it. And
Meanwhile, everyone else is
the
just dropping a bomb joke.
yeah, JD said, Pete, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do upfront to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get the oils. That's his main concern. It's not even about the
Yeah.
European economy stuff. It's mainly about
It's
the
like it's we can't have our precious Saudi oil hurt, you know?
yeah.
Um
Well, also the
Pete
other
Hanks
thing that
said,
I think is
which I was gonna say too, just because I want to like say what Pete said in response to that real quick. I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's in all caps here, pathetic. Which is so funny because like I always thought that like people like JD and Pete and things like that were just like sycophants that were just like following Trump's messaging because they wanted power. No, these people like actually believe this.
yeah,
Like
they're
this is what they're
stupid.
saying in private.
Surprised. They're
Yeah,
idiots.
exactly.
Well, the other
Yeah,
thing
like this
too
is what they're
that
saying in private.
like when you were reading that once again is like stands for nothing really, like has his
Yeah.
opinions or whatever, and then is like, well, we'll do what you want to do. And it's all
Mhm.
about optics, right? It's about the messaging.
Yeah.
It's about how it looks to people. And I understand that's like an important part of politics is you need to constantly connect with your base and the rest of the population that maybe doesn't like you and in a hope to like get them on your side. Sure, but like it just shows how like little consideration is paid to like the human impact of these decisions. It's just really about numbers and optics, and that's all. It's like it's
Yeah.
corporate speak
Exactly.
in the government, and people have always said like Trump would run the government like a business, and stuff like this kind of feels like that.
True. Yeah, true. So basically, this is like the extent of what the first article showed. And he basically went on to say in the article, like, by the way, I'm not going to reveal everything in here because I believe I saw classified information that I was not supposed to see. I do not want to reveal that because I do not want to put like people at risk, you know? And I'm going to hold back on that right now. The Trump admin, their messaging in the next 24 hours was that there was no classified information in the conversation. So, and they had like people testifying like under oath in Congress saying that there was no classified information shared, right? So, including Tulsi Gabbard, who was in there, and she was like, I don't recall the contents of all the messages. And Ratcliffe, who's the head of the CIA, like speaking a similar tune. It's amazing they both have such bad memory, you know? And they're put in charge of these large organizations despite that,
Yeah,
which,
the
you know.
intelligence agency guy having really bad memory. Yeah.
Yes, and yes, and like Tulsi, who's in charge of national intelligence, exactly. Um,
And also, this
so
is an admin that has shown a propensity to be pretty laissez-faire with information. I forget
yes.
I want to say it was about Watergate, but they like put out a bunch of documents,
The
right,
JFK
recently,
files about, yeah,
JFK
about the
files,
JFK
and they didn't
assassination. Yeah.
redact it properly,
They didn't take any social security numbers out,
which
which
is
was like,
stupid.
yeah, that was
Like the
insane. It's like,
basis, like when you talk about
yeah,
PII, personally identifiable information, anything that
yeah,
you could use to tie it back to a person, social security number is like one of the number one things
yeah.
that's like PII strike
They
it
were
out.
like, yeah, they were like, we're gonna like release everything unredacted, right? And it was like, okay, sure, but also like you didn't need to like put like you could have redacted the social security numbers. I think
Yeah,
people
because
would
some
have
of those
understood
people are
that.
still
You know,
around,
like,
right? That's
yeah,
the reason it's also
exactly.
a big
Yeah.
issue. There's a good chunk of them that are around still,
Yeah,
and
there
it
might be like
puts them in
retired
compromising
CIA
positions.
guys. Exactly.
Yeah.
There might be retired CIA guys that are like, oh God, what am I gonna do? People are trying to steal my identity.
So I'm saying
Um,
like
so yeah,
obviously like at this point it's like
yeah.
he said she said with like if there confidential information in this conversation, but the
So
admin's already shown an ability to be pretty fucking shit at
so this
not protecting information properly.
what I will say though is that is it he said she said, right? When he's like claiming like I have stuff from the group chat that was definitely like classified that I saw that I'm not going to release because it would be unfair. Again, everybody else claimed that's not. And then Jeffrey Goldberg went, "Okay, wait. If you're claiming this isn't classified, I can just release these messages."
That's true. If that's how you want
So
to
he
play it.
did. So he
That's
did.
so funny. He was like, "I'm gonna wait," and then they were like, "Do it," and he was like, "Okay."
So we only have like about a minute left in this meeting,
Yeah, you
so we
could
can
set
like
up. You could
save
set
that.
up what we're gonna get over here next in this
But
new badge.
quite literally in this you're gonna go like your jaw is gonna drop when you hear this part. Quite literally in this like message that he released later, Pete Hegseth had the entire timeline of the attack in the signal chat.
Why this? Oh my god,
Yes.
dude. We're so cooked. If another
He
country wanted to
literally
just
put
get information
so
from us, they could just join a chat and find the war plans.
So things that weren't in there, okay? There were not like direct locations of where we were attacking,
Okay,
but it does make
cool.
reference. It makes reference to being like target terrorist is at his known location. So that was like in the classified materials they had gotten outside the chat. However, our entire timetable is there,
That's
right?
pretty
So
important, I feel like, and that shouldn't be dropped in the
yes,
chat. That should have been handed off in person, and they should be like,
it probably
refer to
was.
that.
Yes. So I will again we will come back to this in a moment, but that
Yeah,
is what happened in this part two here.
yeah, we're gonna take a pause here. We'll be right back. Take a breather if you're listening, to just once again really soak in the ineptitude of the people who control a lot of very important infrastructure and resources in our country, and
Yeah.
just kind of realize we're fucked for a little bit, and we'll be right back.
Be right back.
And we are back after once again taking our pause to just kind of accept how fucked we are. I'm sure some of you already, accepted that, come to that conclusion, but. Yeah, so we just got war. We got attack plans just opened up,
Yeah.
just in the group chat, just putting it all out there,
Yeah. Which again,
letting the missiles spread eagle for the world to see.
the claim that the timing of drone strikes, the timing that American fighter pilots were going to be launching missiles, the timing of all these different things was not classified is just like a blatant lie. You
There's no way
know?
that isn't classified. That's such a big part of like
Yes.
your plan is the
Which
timing and who's doing what relative to one another. It's just
which
blatantly
this
not true that's and if they don't view that as classified information, then we are
is
screwed.
deeply that's deeply concerning if they don't. Yeah. Um, what I say, like you're telling me that like any like Joe Schmo could just like walk up to the White House and be like, "Hi, can I see the plans for like our next attack?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, here." You know, like
Yeah, they wouldn't say the location specifically. It'll be like
yeah.
uh
It's
a
like, well,
little east
we're
of
gonna
this
bomb
town.
ISIS at this point, so you know, like
Yeah, we're gonna be, yeah, East River Bank.
yeah. And it's made worse by the fact that like the Houthis are like specifically located in that like region of Yemen. So it's like you know where it's gonna happen. Like if this had gotten
Yeah,
out,
if
like the
someone had
Houthis
these
would have
plans in Google,
yeah.
they could figure out everything.
Literally, like so again, imagine if like a journalist that did not like that did not care as much about like the ramifications of these plans getting leaked was in the chat instead and put this on the internet before the attack happened.
He's just live tweeting it.
Yeah, he's just like, "Yo, you guys got to hear this right now." Like
Yo, this is crazy. Yo, 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 what's good,
literally, yeah.
creamers? We're
So
in
for
the
example,
government's group chat right now.
yeah. For example, if Vasant and I had this, right? Like we might not have thought to like hold on to this. We might be like, "Yo, what the hell is happening?" Um, but
How did the military guys get my number?
literally, the best parts of this too, though, is that like I said, JD Vance, I mentioned this earlier, his response to that was, I will say a prayer for victory. It's like people react with like prayer emojis.
I will say a prayer for
Discord.
victory.
We got Discord calls, man. We got
You need to
Discord
say a
chat running
prayer
the
for the
country.
nation, brother. Oh my lord.
So the
They go
later
be dropping the F's in chat afterwards.
mhm. Later, Michael Waltz sends an update. VP, building collapsed, had multiple positive ID. Pete, Kurila, and the IC, amazing job. And JD just replied, what? And Michael Waltz said, typing too fast. They're the first target, their top missile guy. We had a positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building, and now it's collapsed. To which JD Vance said, excellent. And John Ratcliffe said, a good start. To which Michael
A good
Waltz replied,
start.
a good start. To which, again, if they just like wiped out civilians as a result of this, like, oh my God.
Which is, I mean, like a very real possibility. You
Yes.
collapse a building that isn't even it's the guy's girlfriend's building, or
Yeah.
the targets, right? Like,
Yeah.
and just being like excellent, like,
Hmm.
come on, man.
Yeah. So
That's lack of
Michael,
respect for human life. I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
insane.
crazy. Michael Waltz had replied with the most like infamous set of emojis in the chat, which was just like fist emoji, American flag, fire emoji.
Oh, come on, guys.
These are the people in charge of your government,
These are the
besides.
people y'all be throwing it back for on Facebook
Yes. Um,
and X.
so the amazing
Hey, Twitter
thing,
no more now. It's X because that boy, the
yeah.
guy boy in office. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
So the amazing thing that like I think this really shows to me too, and just like
My
the
head is in
response,
my hands, Aidan.
yeah. The response of the admin, right? Is that the
Oh
response of
yeah,
the
yeah.
admin
How did
was
they
like
respond to this? Yeah.
they literally they have just like denied. It is quite literally just trying to gaslight the American people from like not paying attention to what's in front of their eyes. So this is like how
Well,
should I
I
put
will
this,
ask
right?
one
They
question.
yeah.
How did they vet that these were actually the people that they claim to be in these chats? I mean, right?
What
Because
do
I
you
mean,
mean? Oh, the White House confirmed that the chat was real.
oh, okay. Well, fuck that then.
They
Okay,
said,
it's
but
real.
they had said that there was just no classified info in the chat. So they were like, we
Because I
didn't
was wondering, I was
violate
like, where did the
anything,
due
whatever.
diligence come in? He didn't have to do
Yeah.
anything. The White House just straight up said it was true.
And also he knew that this was real because like everything that was talked about wound up being happening later, you know?
Yes,
Like was
so it would
reported
have
on
to be like
later.
someone with a direct link into it to actually put
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
information out there.
And like no one has denied that the chat is real. Okay? The
Yeah, the
chat is
denial
real.
is more. What's the denial around then?
The denial is around the idea that these that like quote unquote war plans and
Oh, that
classified
information is
information,
sensitive.
yeah, we're not discussed in the chat. However, then after this was revealed, everyone was like, "Holy hell, these are absolutely classified." And now it turns into how did Jeffrey Goldberg get into the chat? Well, we know how he did. Michael Waltz added him directly. Michael Waltz has now confirmed that he has Elon Musk and quote unquote some of the other top tech guys investigating how Jeffrey Goldberg got added to the chat in the first place, alleging
Usually
that maybe he hacked his way in. Which, by the way, if you are
he's
spreading
an
like
editor in chief of a fucking publication.
yes,
Why the fuck is he doing
yes,
comp sci bullshit?
yes, which, by the way, if it was possible to hack into a chat of this importance on this platform and that
Don't
was a
use
risk
it.
y'all were carrying, don't use it. Exactly.
That
That's
there's
even
actually, I'm pretty
worse.
sure there's someone whose job it is to vet all government like
Yes.
programs and
That's
tools
it.
that they use for
That's
security.
almost worse. That's almost worse than just
Also,
adding him.
usually in like when someone creates a chat or adds people to chats, there's usually a little message that says who added who.
Yes. It literally says Michael Waltz added you. Like he has the information of that.
Yeah, then I don't know the
Um,
denial. The top tech guys.
but it comes to
Yeah,
this
Elon Musk, who
insane.
famously gutted the Twitter development team. Yeah, I'm sure he's
Yes.
gonna figure it out.
And like Trump also was like, I don't like those Atlantic people. Basically, he's like, I don't trust them. He's just trying to like basically
Oh,
build
so it's
within his
gaslighting
base.
essentially. We're like,
It's a
oh, what they're
gaslighting,
showing you
yeah.
is not real.
But
This never
it
happened.
goes down to this whole problem with like Trumpism and the Trump admin, the people that are like walking in line with him, is that there is this
There's no
refusal to ever.
accountability, first of
There's no
all.
accountability, but there's a refusal to ever admit that a mistake happened. Everything
Trump
was
watched
planned. Everything.
Succession when the
He
Waystar
absolutely didn't. He
Roco.
only watches Broadway plays.
No, but like people in the Trump ad would watch fucking Succession and saw how Waystar Roco was handling like their scandal, and they were like, just deny and move on, deny and move on. And they're like, that's
Yeah.
exactly what we should do. Not realizing what the show is like making fun of these types of scandals
Well,
and approaches, but they were like, we're gonna do it. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, like, what
it's
else do
there.
you need for evidence? I mean, he puts these messages out there, then it gets confirmed that these are real, but there's nothing sensitive in there. He then drops the rest. There's clearly stuff that's sensitive, and now
Yeah.
it's more about like, how did he get in? But like, does that really matter
How,
at that point? The messages got out. And that shows a
yes.
level of irresponsibility and a lack of security.
If
And this
if
is the admin that we are supposed to trust our secret, like our nation's secrets and these sensitive matters with. And if they can keep stuff under wraps, whether it's putting information that should have been redacted in documents that they themselves are putting out, or accidentally adding people to things they shouldn't be added to, like that doesn't raise that doesn't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who don't like the admin, like myself and you, already weren't confident in them, but this is not helping.
Yeah, and it's like again, what I'm getting to with this whole thing, like refusal to admit a mistake was made. What would
Mm-hmm.
any like normal admin have done in this like situation? They
I would
would
argue any
have.
normal admin wouldn't have accidentally added a guy to a group
Sure,
chat and
but
just
in
been.
the scenario where this happened, and like
You'd have to
just
just admit it. You just
you'd
have
be
to.
like, a mistake was made, we fired the individual that made the mistake, and that like we're moving on from it, right?
Yeah, we're switching platforms. We're gonna have like some
And we're
internal
addressing it so it never.
training.
Exactly. We're
Yeah.
addressing this so it never happens again. That is what would happen. But the fact that this admin is so obsessed with never making a
I
mistake
mean, look who's
is
in charge of the
insane.
admin.
Yes,
Trump's never been held accountable. JD
it's
Vance is
because
like that as
yes.
well, and Elon's involved clearly, influential. It
Yeah.
seems, and he never admits mistakes either. Like these are all people who just like don't know how to admit they're wrong, aren't
Yeah.
critical or self-critical. Because I mean, think about it. The type of American patriotism they promote is not. It's not like good patriotism. It's like
Yeah.
jingoism almost, right? Where it's like undying loyalty without ever using your critical thinking skills to like point out things that need to be fixed. Instead
Yeah.
of using this as an opportunity to just kind of eat shit and get better, it's
Yeah.
no, we didn't eat shit. Actually, someone shoved it in our mouth, and that's who you should be mad at.
For example, too, of another case of this, like when the Trump admin was initially going to put tariffs on Mexico and Canada, and then they delayed them a month, right? The entire time Trump was talking about Canada, Mexico are ripping us off, trade deals are terrible, yada, everything, whatever. And then he walked into like meetings with them, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to push the tariffs back a month because they said they'd like take like greater care of like stopping fentanyl at the border." It's like, okay, so what you're doing is you lied the entire time about like what the reason for this is, or you got to the point where you panicked and were like, I need to like get some sort of concession from them so I don't look weak and
Yeah, I
act
mean
like that
it's
was
this
the
typical
point,
salesman bullshit of like asking for
Exactly.
the world and then just trying to get a little, but
Yeah.
that's
But
not
like
what you
if
should be doing.
there's never this admission of mistake of being like, oh, you know what? Maybe like the tariffs on everything was a bad idea, so I scaled it
Also,
back
I
with
mean,
them
he's
and we
directly
worked out
responsible for
something.
some of the stuff in our agreements today. The like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
dairy tariff that Canada has,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
directly in the agreement he signed
Yeah,
in his
absolutely.
first run at it run. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's that's the thing. Like, and like while you were telling the story in my head, I was like, I already know that his supporters and his crew have found a way to flip this, and you got to it at the end there with like, well, let's point the question at the Atlantic and the journalist, and maybe,
Yeah.
and there's obviously going to be people who are just decrying this is all fake anyway,
The
and it's
funny,
like,
the funniest line of attack I've seen is like, "Well, why didn't he leave the group chat?" I'm like, "Cause he's a journalist." You know?
Yeah, and
He
like I
was
mean the
doing
way
his
like you're
job.
paraphrasing some of the stuff in his article, he was literally like, I'm just gonna sit through this and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Like
And if
what?
it's like
Because
a
he's
bunch of
like,
bullshit, then it's a bunch of
it's like
bullshit and it would have never come
store.
out.
Dude, if someone knocked on my front door during Watergate and was like, "Yo, I've got the information," I would have taken it. You
Yeah, he's a
know?
journalist. It's his job to like,
Yes, I would
just
have
like
said
vet these things
yes,
out and follow the lead to the end. And it ended up
yes,
being true. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like instead of like facing fact, like that's the thing that this like I could say a lot about how like cowardly and like disgusting and whatever that the admin is, but like I said, the lack of accountability, the inability to admit your mistakes and try and be better. That is like a
yeah,
fundamental life skill. And the
yes,
admin can't even fucking do it a little.
yeah. It's
And
like
that's
have
who you want to put your bets
again,
behind?
be like, yeah, we messed up. We're not going to use Signal for these purposes going forward. And also,
Yeah, fire some people.
we have
Trump was
fired
firing
Michael.
people. Fire some people and
Yeah,
move
we
on.
fired Michael Waltz from being head of national security. You know, that's the other thing. The guy's in charge of national security,
You got to
man.
be better. I mean,
Come
this is literally
on.
like the joke that like younger people will make about how there are older people in certain positions of power who cannot do things like use their phone properly.
Yes, yes,
Like I mean, it's just sad. I mean, what else is there to say other than like it's just pathetic. And once again, the way it's spun at the end to try and protect the admin, it's just ridiculous because when I mentioned that idea of like nationalism and jingoism and all that stuff, the way I think you're
yeah,
like you truly care about your country is like you are critical of it. You admit the stuff it does well and you acknowledge that there are things that we could do better. And then you focus on doing
yes,
those things better and then it makes things better. It shows you care. Because if you didn't care, you'd be like, ah, fuck it. It's fine enough for me. Just let it
hmm,
ride out, or I don't care about this type of shit. But it takes someone who actually gives a shit about people and the place they live to be critical of things like this leaking and this lack of, security and thought. But instead, people would rather say, no, I'm a real patriot. I'm actually not going to look at things that are not good for this country. And I'm actually going
yeah,
to call out people who are daring to point this out as something negative. Like, how backwards ass is that? Like, what the hell?
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
crazy, man.
ugh. Well, Aiden, you know what? Do you want to move on to talking about some leaks that are actually like fun and not matters of national security?
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about some less, well, they're impactful leaks to you and I.
I guess the episode was like the leak episode, you
The
know?
leak episode, Aiden's
Yeah.
secret will not be leaked. That will be coming out on his own terms.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
don't use Signal. We use
Nah.
iMessage.
Much more secure. Um,
If we still use Twitter to talk to each other, it'd be funnier to say like we use Twitter DMs.
yeah, the most definitely, especially in this latest iteration of Twitter now, is X is the most
Yeah.
secure messaging service.
But these
Uh,
leaks are, yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry, yeah, I talked about the one set of leaks. This one is more. I think I've not caught up with these leaks entirely. So you tell me, talk to me about it,
These,
man.
yeah, these leaks are important, not on a national security level, but they're important to a very
It's no,
large group
no.
of people
It's important on a
internationally.
it's important on a national security level. This is important.
I'd say actually bigger international level.
Yes, you're right.
It's important to a group of people known as Pokemon fans.
Absolutely. And these are very persecuted people, and we need to take care of them.
Depending on how you feel about Pokemon fans, and I'm someone who's in the community, it can be both like, oh man, Pokemon fans, or you saying it like a slur. Because holy shit, what a
Yeah, no, dude,
spectrum of a
it's
community. There's the people who cared about
pretty,
Dexgate
yeah.
or whatever and
That's
Sword
like the
and Shield.
funniest thing. That was the one of the funniest thing. For
That
people that
became a
don't know,
political movement. Yeah, go ahead.
yes. For people that don't know about that, basically at a certain point in the Pokemon series, they went, "Hey, look, we've made a lot of Pokemon. They're not all going to be in every game, you know? Like we can't just like make models for each of these like
They're not
jump to
all
the new
going to be in Sword
generation."
and Shield specifically, which was
Yeah.
the first Pokemon game to make it to the first mainline game to make it to the Switch. There was Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, but
Which, by the way, completely reasonable in my opinion. To be like, look, Vanilla Ice is not going to be. What was it called? I said Vanilla
Vanilla
Ice.
Ice,
What was it like the snow, the ice cream
Vanillux.
Pokemon? Vanillux. Thank you.
That'd be so fun. Vanilla Ice with his flat top just doing
Yeah,
MC Hammer moves in battle.
exactly. Like
Stop.
Vanillux, yeah. Collaborate and listen. They were like they'll like whatever, like Vanillux, like Garbodor, whatever. Like these, you guys don't care about these guys. They're not gonna be in them. Like it's, we might bring them back in later ones, and they have. Like they'll like just bring ones into certain games and
Yeah,
not
with like these new
now.
DLCs, they'll essentially like open
Yeah,
up the decks more, which
yeah.
seems to be their MO going forward. And I didn't really care that much personally. I
It's
will say they didn't
fine. I think
handle the
it's
announcement of it very
no,
well.
yeah.
That
But
is fair to be critical, but it started like a political movement. There was posters and
yeah.
everything.
Exactly. For me, I'm like, oh, that's fine. It makes sense. Like, what? When we have like 1,500 Pokemon within like 2 generations, are we really going to put them all in one game? Like, no, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
there was some argument about like, oh, well, if people want to carry them over, you should be able to. And I mean, like, that's a fair point with like Pokemon Home and stuff. But yeah, like, I
sure.
don't
But
care
yeah,
that all 1,500 aren't like natively in the game. That's fine.
yeah, yeah. But this was a
But
whole, it was a whole thing. But yeah, that's not even what we're talking about today. But
yeah,
that was just something.
that was a time when saying you liked Pokemon was like really something to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the leaks we're talking about here, there is a new Pokemon game slated to come out later this year. Pokemon
Yes.
Legends Smoking on That Za, Pokemon Legends ZA.
Is it coming out like holiday season, by the way? Is
They've
that
put
one?
like a non-specific late 2025
Okay,
label
so
on it.
probably holiday season.
Yeah, and I had also theorized it'll not only come out for the Switch, but it'll also have like a Switch 2 release, or maybe
I
it'll
believe it,
because
yeah.
the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, so maybe they just release it for the Switch and say you can play it on either console, or maybe
Yeah.
the Switch 2 version's a little more souped up graphically. I don't know. We're not here to really
Yeah.
talk about the
Or
game. It's
or they'll be like, oh, if you play it on Switch 2, you'll get like a Mew or something. Like, you know?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk maybe a little bit about how we feel about what we've seen for the game and stuff. We have seen like an initial gameplay reveal,
Yeah.
but recently, and these are leaks that, unlike the leaks the Atlantic talked about, which were very much real, the White House confirmed it.
Yeah.
Pokemon Company has not been so kind to confirm these leaks. They never confirm any leaks, but there
Yeah.
are allegedly a list has leaked of the Pokemon in Legends ZA that will be receiving Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution, a very popular, probably the most popular battle gimmick they've
Yeah.
introduced of all the different ones they've done
Yeah.
in Gen 6, where certain Pokemon could like kind of power up to another level. They look a little
Hmm.
different. Sometimes their type changes. They usually get a new ability. And it was seen as a cool way to maybe soup up some fan favorites. Of course, Charizard got two, because of course it fucking did.
Yeah.
Or like give a Pokemon that didn't maybe have the same juice it used to have, like some new life. Like Mawile, for example, became really
Yes.
good, or Kangaskhan. Um, so it went away for a
Okay.
while, and people have been like
Mega
clamoring.
Kangas. I just want to say Mega Kangaskhan's one of the funniest Pokemon to me because they're like, oh yeah, like the little Kangaskhan that it has in its pouch. For people that don't know, it's basically a kangaroo with like a little baby kangaroo. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
it's out now and it's boxing. Like it's
it's throwing
fighting
hands. It's
now.
LeBron and Bronny,
It
actually.
really is. Yeah.
If I get a Kangaskhan in Legends Z, I'm naming it Braun.
That's great. That's awesome.
But Mega Evolution went away for a while. They tried some new gimmicks. I
Hmm.
will say the newest one, Terastallization, aesthetically not my favorite, but I think it is the most strategically interesting one.
It's very cool. Like the things that you can do with it are very cool.
Yeah, it opens up some
Um,
cool strategy stuff, so I do like it
yeah.
for that angle. But Megas
Yeah.
are coming back in Pokemon Legends
Yes.
ZA, and people are very excited. And it is almost guaranteed that there will be new Mega Evolutions introduced in the game. In addition to bringing back, I think, a lot of the old ones. The initial gameplay trailer showed like Charizard,
Yep.
I think Kangaskhan, Gardevoir, and Lucario, to name a couple.
Hmm.
Um, so people have been talking about like what are the new ones going to be? And so the popular theory, and these leaks allegedly confirm that, are that Meganium for Alligator and Embor, the final forms of the starters in Legends ZA, Chikorita, Totodile, and Tepig, will all
Yeah.
receive Mega Evolutions. I think everyone kind of assumed that was going to be the
Which
case. So,
thank God because Meganium needs some new life. Like something to like make that thing
oh,
relevant.
Meganium is
Because
so clearly the worst starter,
yes, exactly.
unfortunately, of
Which
that trio, and arguably of all time to a lot of
it
people.
I wouldn't go that far for
No,
me
a lot of
personally,
people
but
put it
like
really low on their list, though. Like, let's
it's
be
low for
honest.
me. It's low for me. But despite that, I know I'm picking Chikorita when
I
this
give
game
Bayleaf a
comes
bump
out.
up because I like Bayleaf
Bailey's
from the
cool. I like
anime.
Bailey. Yeah.
But
For
yeah,
some reason, I know I'm taking Chikorita. I don't know
yeah.
why, but I know I'm gonna do it.
And I'm a huge Totodile guy, and I think
Yeah.
Feraligatr just kind of got power crept out of existence a little bit as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people always like hate its back sprite where it looks like its ass is out.
Yeah, okay, look, let's not hate on some on the thick boys, okay? Like
Yeah, first of all, he's
we
cheeked up. Second of all, I'm pretty sure those are
Yeah.
just like shoulder blades or something. They're like back
Yeah,
like
it's
spikes or
hilarious,
whatever.
yeah. It's really
And
funny, but
then
yeah.
I mean, Tepig is also like pretty disliked. I think it's probably the least liked of the trio
It
from
might be
Unova.
like it might be the least liked fire starter, like
It's
honestly.
also the
Like
least competitively viable of the trio, with
yeah.
Hisui and Samurott giving Samurott new life. Superior has its own
Yeah.
contrary gimmick, which keeps
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
around sometimes.
By the way,
Embor
to
has
the
nothing.
to the people that do not understand what we're talking about, congratulations.
Yeah, we're really happy for you. You can kind of just put this on
Yes,
as white noise.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think you and I both think like they picked starters that are probably a little undervalued, and
Yeah.
giving them
Try
megas
and give him
really
some new
cool.
life. Yeah.
But what I'm going to do for you is now these are the alleged leaks of all the Pokemon receiving megas in
Okay.
Legends ZA. I will say a pretty big chunk of these are Generation 5 Pokemon, which is earned. Generation 5
Yeah,
has
yeah.
one mega.
Has
Do
it
you know what it
really?
is? It only has one. Do you know what it is?
Um, that's so crazy because Megas came out in Gen 6. It was right after. I don't know. Which one is it?
Mega Audino. One of the
How
worst
the
megas.
hell? That's
Aesthetically, it's
crazy.
cute, but it is
Yeah.
pretty awful.
I forgot
But
about Mega Audito. What?
yeah, so
You
if
could
there's like
get
a
that in
lot,
Pokemon X or Y or
yeah,
whatever? What?
it's
Okay,
weird.
sure.
But there's
Sure,
a good
man.
chunk of Gen 5 guys here. So I'm going to rattle off the list. You tell me how you feel about this Pokemon potentially getting a Mega.
Okay.
So to start, we've got a couple Gen 1 boys on the list because Pokemon will
Okay.
never stop appealing to the
I
nostalgia crowd.
But you know what? I do like making ways of making older Pokemon relevant. Once again, I won a competitive championship for the league that I play, and using Gyarados is like the crux of my
Who
team.
might be
So
retiring soon, unfortunately.
yeah, this year he's really not putting in the work, which you hate to see your goat washed, but like
I hate it.
yikes. Yeah. But
So
sorry,
we're
yes.
starting off Mega Clefable.
Okay, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Clefable,
Makes
like
sense a little bit, right? Because
yeah.
Gengar and Clefable have had like these like fan theories that they're like kind of direct opposites of each other. They have like very similar
Yeah.
silhouettes. A Mega Gengar already exists.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
also like Clefable, like way back in the day, like was like as a Calm Mind user, at least had like some viability. It's just been completely just out, like replaced
I
because it's
mean,
just
power
not
creep
important
is a
anymore.
very real thing,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So
So
it'd be
like
cool to
yeah.
see it back.
Okay. Yeah, Clefable's cool.
An anime staple from the early seasons, Mega Victory Bell.
I love Victory Bell.
He's such a
I
goofy
think that's
guy.
exactly. Victory Bell is so goofy. I actually really love that. That's cool. Okay.
It's always fun when they pick like the off the beaten path Pokemon. It was
Yeah.
never like, yeah, look, everyone likes a lot of people like the aesthetics of like Mega Lucario, the Mega Charizards, Mega Blaziken,
Yeah.
Swampert, Sceptile, etc., Mega
Yeah, yeah.
Metagross. But it's also like, oh, these guys are already like popular and or
Yeah.
good.
It's
So did
it's
they
cool
really
that like
need
Mega
this?
Sableye is a thing, like stuff
Yeah,
like
Mega
that where it's
Beedrill.
like, yeah, Mega Beedrill. Yeah, why not? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And so our next one is a Pokemon that I think is always like stuck around.
Mhm.
But it's nice once again see it maybe a little fresh coat of paint to come back. Mega Starmie.
I love that. I love Starmie. Starmie's cool.
Starmie
I
rocks. So this one could just be really cool,
Yeah,
I think.
that's really cool.
Mega Starmie, I feel like of all the leaks I'm about to read to you, might have the most legs. I've seen it mentioned multiple times as being like on the list or in the game or whatever. Once
Okay.
again, we take these all with a grain of salt. They're not verified in any capacity,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
one of the leaks mentioned that this person claims to have seen like mock-ups of the design and it has long legs.
What? Okay,
Don't know
that's
what that
awesome. That's
means.
awesome. That's awesome. I don't care.
It'd be
That's
really funny if Mega
great.
Starmie just grows arms and legs.
It's just running around instead of swimming. That's amazing. I love that.
The
Okay,
next
I'm
one,
all in on Mega Starmie.
The next one that I'm really excited for if it actually happens, a Mega Dragonite.
Okay, there we go.
We're talking.
That's one that's needed. That's one that's needed right
A
there.
lot of the
Dragon
dragons have
deserves
gotten
it.
megas, Garchomp and Salamence being the notable ones, right?
Yep,
So
Dragonite deserves that.
yeah, Gudra has a Hisuian form.
Yep.
So like giving Dragonite something different would be neat.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a Mega Frostlass.
Um. Okay.
Mega
Odd,
Glalie
but okay.
exists, so I get the
Yeah, I guess
idea
I
maybe
get
to
it. Okay.
even it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Frostlass,
Yeah.
very cool
Fine.
design. So
Yeah. I just don't know where you take it with a mega, but like, sure. I guess just like if you're boosting just like a special attack or something, like, sure, it'll just become
yeah.
more powerful.
I did jump the gun a bit. I forgot to mention another Gen 2 boy allegedly getting a
Hmm.
Mega Skarmory.
I love that. That's awesome. I love
Skarmory definitely got
Skarmory.
power crept out, especially when
Yeah.
Corviknight dropped.
Exactly. Yeah. Skarmory's been completely just wiped out of like competitive entirely. So I really like that. That's cool.
Another steel type boy. Now we're in Gen 5. Mega Excadrill.
I love Excadrill.
Excadrill's a
Yes.
beast. That
Yes.
thing
I love
hits hard.
Excadrill. That thing is awesome.
And the potential for the Megas seems kind of cool. Like the
Yeah,
design
because
stuff that they could probably pull off.
it's got like drills for hands and for a head, you know? Like you can
Yeah.
do like or like these metal claws really, but like you can do things with that. That'd be cool. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe give it like the one on its
Shiny.
head.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, by the way, shiny Excadrill, so cold. You know shiny Excadrill, right? Where it's like blue instead of the red.
Yes. China
That's
Excadrill is
so
cold.
cold. So cold.
This one I know you'll love because you're doing a little bug monologue.
I am, yeah.
Bug type monologue. Scolipede.
Okay, that hurts because the only Pokemon I've lost was Venipede in this entire run that I have.
Well, now they'll be reincarnated as a newer,
So
higher level
for context
being.
for people that don't know what I'm talking about, a Nuzlocke is basically you play a Pokemon game with permadeath. So just if your Pokemon dies, it's dead for the entire thing. I'm doing that right now with Pokemon Black 2, except only using bug types. Venipede was my second Pokemon I caught, and it died to a Rattata, which if you don't know what a Rattata is, that's really shameful that it died to a Rattata.
It just got caught when it was trying to get in its
Yeah,
prime. It was gearing up for something special. It got cut down way too
it
soon.
was. Yeah, it was.
But Mega Scolipede, this one could
That's
look
cool. That could look
incredible.
really cool. That could look really cool.
Next one, I have no fucking idea what this would look like. Mega Scrafty.
Okay, that's the first one. Just like I strictly don't care about that one.
I mean, this one could look funny. I mean, I already think
Sure,
Scrafty's a
yeah,
little
yeah.
goofy.
Yeah.
He's got sagging pants built in.
That is true. So maybe just make the pants sag more.
His pants just get
May-
bigger.
Instead of a mohawk, now give him like a mullet too, you know? Like
He has a
just
nose ring.
yeah, give him a nose ring. Make him more punk, you know?
Uh, this one, I think we could get into some real, like, kind of weird, freaky deaky territory.
Hmm.
Mega Electros.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love Electros. That, yes, yes, yes. That,
Electros also a San Diego
yes.
Psyduck champion, right?
Exactly. Yes, one of my champions on my competitive team that won my championship last year. And a very, very important member of it because he was my pivot, basically, which in competitive Pokemon is the guy that's basically there to like take hits and set up the rest of the team. Um, so having a guy like him with no weaknesses because he's an electric type. Electric types only have one weakness, ground, but his ability makes it
He
impossible
floats.
to get hit by
He'd be
ground
swimming in the
moves.
air.
He was incredible for my team last season. Didn't get a lot of kills, but he just like put in like some very valuable work for me. So I love Electros.
Yeah, this one I think could be really fun. And then this next one, I'm a huge fan of this Pokemon, so I'm real hyped if
Yeah,
this is true. Mega Chandelure.
I like that. Just give it more candles. Just more
Turn up the
candles.
heat, baby.
Turn up the
Pokin
heat.
Fighter alumnus.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe instead of the
And this
purple
is where
flames, it's like blue flames for the mega, like really hot, like
it
you
heats
know.
up, yeah. That
Yeah.
could be some fun stuff there.
Yeah.
These next three are where like I'm like, okay, these feel a little questionable.
Sure. Yeah.
The entire Gen 6 starter trio of Chestnut, Delphox, and Greninja are all allegedly on the mega list.
Okay. To be fair, they were owed a mega.
Except for Greninja, who got Ash
Yeah, they
Greninja, which was essentially a
basically
mega. It was
mega, yeah.
broken.
Yeah, but like to be fair, like as someone who played Pokemon X for the first time recently, the fact that they introduced this mechanic of Mega Evolution and your starters don't get a Mega Evolution always felt so weird.
It's
So
weird, and
like,
also Greninja's the only one of the three who's had any legs outside of that generation. It's very good
yes,
competitively. It's in Smash.
yeah,
It's had a life outside of the game. So Greninja's been doing well for itself, but the other two have been starving for a long
yeah,
time.
exactly. So I get it. It's not like one that
It's
gets
just
me
weird to
hype,
see a
but
lot of starters, I guess. But I guess they did
yeah,
that in X and Y. They gave
they
the
gave like the
Kanto
original
starters and then
trio. Yeah,
Hoenn. So,
yeah.
and now we're getting to some Gen 6 guys. We've got Pyroar,
Okay,
which makes
that's
sense,
yeah, it's
tied into the
fine.
villain in the original Gen 6 game. So maybe you want to give him a little boost.
Sure.
This one's another like freaky guy, could end up being kind of cool. Mega Malamar, the upside down squid.
Interesting. Not one's gonna get me hype, but okay. Yeah.
That one, like, I'm more excited about the design possibilities with
Yeah, they
that
could do
one.
something cool with that.
Mega Dragalge. You talk about forgotten dragons. No one
Dang.
talks about Dragalge.
Okay, that's good for Dragology. You know,
And I
because
know
like yeah,
this
exactly
next,
what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
this next one's gonna get you hype. Mega Halucha.
You love Hawlucha. Let's go, man.
Dude, a Mega Luchador Pokemon just seems
Oh
raw.
my gosh.
Give him a
Yeah.
belt
Okay. Also, I don't care like it's you can talk about like what's like the most effective type combination where fighting flying is so raw. Like that's just
for a
like it's
Luchador
just
Pokemon.
awesome.
It's
Yeah, it's
incredible.
just
His signature
awesome.
move, right? Flying
Yeah.
press or something.
Yeah.
So cool. He
He's
was a great
awesome. I love
Pokemon when he was
Hawlucha.
introduced.
Yeah, I love
Great
Hawlucha.
little
That
design on the guy.
yeah, that's cool, man.
The next one, interesting. It's Mega Floette, but it seems like maybe it'll be restricted to AZ's Floette.
Okay,
So
I mean that
maybe it's
makes
like a bit of a
sense.
plot
Give a
mechanic
yeah,
thing.
I was gonna say a little bit more lore around. Basically, that for people that don't know, that Floette is very like key to the plot of Pokemon X and is going to be part of the plot of Pokemon ZA, definitely.
So makes sense. This next one, this is the biggest who gives a flying fuck. This is them
Yeah.
really throwing a bone to a Pokemon no one cares about. Mega Barbaracle.
Barbaracle?
Yeah, it's the water rock type from Gen 6 that's like got multiple hands for
Oh,
faces.
that thing?
Yeah, don't you love it?
All right. What was like Caracasta too busy or something? Like I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
this is
Sure,
the
but
definition of giving a Pokemon no one cares about a chance that maybe being
yeah.
important. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay, sure. We'll see.
This also feels weird. This next one, Mega Zygarde.
That feels weird because Zygarde already has like another form.
Zygarde already has the perfect form where he
Yeah.
becomes like a fucking Voltron mech.
Yeah. So is it gonna be is it gonna be like Cell where he blows himself up and then he's like I guess spoilers for DBZ, but where he blows himself up and he goes like, I'm now even more perfect when he comes
Yeah,
back.
is Zygarde gonna become like omniscient or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Like I don't
I mean,
know,
I could
but
see Zygarde getting something. It is the
yeah.
central legend of the game, probably. So,
Yeah, so that makes sense.
and then we've got some Gen 6 and onward guys in here. We got Mega
Hmm.
Drampa. I've always loved Drampa's design, real
Like Trampa.
goofy
Yeah, and it's like
V
it's
dragon kind of energy.
exactly. It's goofy and it's like also reminiscent of like the old like Asian paintings of a dragon, like what looks like in
Yeah,
those, you know? So I like Trampa. He's cool.
it could be fun. This one's
Yeah.
funny because I'm just imagining them doing like a Dunsparce and giving it more
Yeah.
little guys, Mega
Well,
Phalanx.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, just more phalanx just attached to
It just
them.
gets longer, just more little guys.
For people that don't know, a phalanx basically if you took like a Goomba from Mario and put like armor on it and then just put a line of like six of them or whatever, that's
It's a
just what
cool
phalanx
it's
is.
a cool concept for a Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's Phalanx like the battle formation, I think, or something like that from
Yeah.
like ancient like Greco-Roman type stuff.
Yeah.
It's a cute little guy, and
I like
it's
phalanx. He's
fun
cool.
giving, yeah. And then
Yeah.
finally, I think probably the most forgotten like mythical, so not box art legendary, but like legend-ish
Hmm.
Pokemon, Zeraora. You remember this guy, the electric kind of dude?
Wait, what? Wait, how do you spell it? Wait.
Zeraora, Zeraora, I believe. Was in Sword and Shield,
Z-E-R-A.
but kind of just tacked on at the end.
Oh, that guy. Oh, I
I mean,
guess. Yeah,
I
sure.
mean,
Why
considering no
not?
one has an opinion or feeling, and like pretty much no one's had him in game legitimately, it seems
Was
like
he a TLC thing or like?
he was
Oh
like
no!
a event
No, wait,
thing.
he's from Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Never mind.
Gen
He's from,
7.
see, there you go. That's how forgettable he is for a lot of people.
Yeah, well,
So, I mean,
no one cares about like Sun and Moon. Like honestly,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it is nice that,
yeah.
like, if these are the picks, there's some picks that definitely are giving some guys a chance at being relevant
Yeah.
again when maybe they mislaunched them the first time or they just didn't stick the first time. And there's some
Hmm.
really popular fan picks. I think as the list goes, I think most a decent amount of it makes sense, but there are some weird ones like throwing in three more starters like is like 50-50. Zygarde getting one also seems really
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Also, I'm learning now Zeraora is only electric and not electric fighting, which he definitely should be. So maybe that's
Yeah,
something that
the
like
Mega
maybe
will
that's
try
something
and
they'll do with the Mega. And also he's called the Thunderclap Pokemon. Now there's literally a move called Thunderclap that would probably be like really useful for him to learn. Um
I don't think that's even his move though. That's the
No,
the
it's
Raikou
Raging Bolts.
Paradox
Yeah,
Norm. Yeah.
it's Raging Bolts move. So I'm saying like now, I
Yeah.
guess you could give that to him, which I guess would be cool. But
Pokemon
like,
Company loves making confusing decisions, but
yeah, sure,
I'd
this
say
guy.
overall, I do like the Gen 5 picks. I think that's the gen
Yeah,
most in need of megas, and I thought they picked some really fun, interesting ones. They didn't just go with like
yeah,
some
I
easy
agree.
picks. It makes sense they didn't pick like Bisharp or like Hydreigon because Bisharp got an evolution, Hydreigon got a
Yeah,
Paradox
Kingambit
form.
and yeah, all that. They're pretty fresh right now. They've already got
Yeah, so they're picking some.
their fans are pulled. They gotta give some for other
Yeah, they're
people to
picking some
eat.
guys who haven't gotten stuff before.
Yeah,
So I think it's fun. Mega Stunfisk would have been the funniest thing they could have
that would have been
done.
hilarious. Yeah, that would have been great. Mega's
But yeah,
Dunsparce would have been awesome.
that would have been hilarious. It just
Just
gets
a third.
longer.
Yeah, it just gets long.
Yeah, I if this is the list, I think it's pretty good, honestly.
I think it's pretty good. I like it. I'm encouraged by that.
But yeah, so see, these leaks leave you feeling a little encouraged, right, compared to the other
Yeah.
leaks, which make you feel dread and despair. So the two halves, the half and halves
Hmm.
of existence. But with those leaks covered, I think that's all we got today, bud.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're good. We have a minute left on this call too, so I guess we'll just wrap it here.
We'll wrap it up
Um,
here. Remember,
yeah.
don't leak your group chats, especially not your high school ones. We don't want to see what you were up to back in the day.
Nope.
Um, if you're gonna leak something, leak fun video game stuff because that's
Yeah.
fun to talk about, not national security issues.
Yeah. And also stay creamy.
Stay creamy. Prayer emojis. Prayer emojis.
Emojis.
Peace.